This is the Introduction to React course. Today, I'm gonna talk about reducers. When you're building a React application, you're gonna have sets of data that are reused throughout the app by multiple components. I've already shown you how to extract these as global state using context. That's one problem solved, but there's another issue that comes up, and that's the scattered update logic for these datasets. So far in this course, we've written functions in the components that use the setter function of the state variable to modify our state data. If we have a shared dataset across multiple components, this means we will have scattered update functions across the components. Some of them might even repeat. This is bad for both scalability and maintainability. Ideally, you would want the state update logic and state data to live in one place. Reducers solve this issue because they consolidate all of the state update logic into a single function. You can also share reducers between components using context. So what are reducers? A reducer is not a React-specific concept. It comes from functional programming, and it simply means a function that combines data items. In React, a reducer combines the current state of a dataset with an action and its accompanying data. In React, reducers should always be pure functions. A pure function always returns the same output when given the same inputs. This means that it cannot have side effects or rely on values declared outside of the function. Let's look at these two increment functions as an example. The first one increments a variable that is external to the function. That's a side effect. If we run it a second time with the same inputs, which are no inputs in this case, it will return a different result. The increment function to the right does the same thing conceptually, but it takes the counter as an input parameter and does not have the side effect that the first function does. This means that when passed the same inputs, it will always return the same output. Therefore, the second function is pure. Your reducers in React should also be pure functions. Now let's take a look at how to use reducers in practice. I have prepared the UI of a to-do app. It has three simple components: a form with one input to create a new item, and a list of to-dos. Each to-do is also a separate component. Currently, I have a static array of to-dos to display my UI. I first want to be able to create a new item, and I'll implement the state update logic using a reducer. As I mentioned, the reducer is just a function. It accepts two parameters, the current state and an action. The action is usually just an object which has the type property, and that property describes what kind of an update the reducer should do. In my case, I want to first implement the add new to-do action. But this reducer will handle all actions for my to-dos, like create, update, and delete. So I need to use a conditional statement, like an if, or a switch statement. Switch statements are usually used in React reducers because they are more concise for multiple conditions. In this case, I'll check if my action type is at, and in that case, I'll return a new state, which will be the current state with my new to-do item. For now, I'll set it as the new to-do string. I also want to have a default catch in my switch statement, in case the past action in the reducer is invalid, and in that case I'll just throw an error. You can also return the current state instead of throwing an error, but I find that worse, as it's harder to debug later, if you have a wrong action. To use this reducer, React provides a useReducer hook that is specially built for reducer functions. It accepts a reducer function and the initial state. In my case, the initial state will be an empty array. This hook returns an array of two values. The first one is my state, in this case my to-dos, and the second is the dispatch function, which dispatches an action. Now finally, let's dispatch my action when the form submits. I'll pass my dispatch function to the createToDo form component. Here in my component, I will attach an onSubmit event handler, and it will simply dispatch my action. As I mentioned, actions are simply objects, which have a type property, which has to be at in this case. If I submit my form now, I get new to-do items added to my list. I would also want to pass the value of the input, which I'll do with the payload property in my action. The payload and type property names are not necessary, as you can specify whatever property names you want, as long as you use them properly in your reducer. These are just the property names that are most frequently used by React developers. Now I can use the payload in the reducer to create my new to-do item. If I test the application now, I can create to-do items with the right titles. Next, I would also want to implement the delete button. This time I'll start on the dispatch end. I'll pass the dispatch as a prop to my to-do item component. Here, I will attach an event listener to my delete button, and I'll dispatch a delete action. The payload will be the ID. Now in my reducer, I'll add a case for my delete action, and I'll just filter my array. And if the index of the item corresponds to my ID, I'll remove it. If I test it now, it works as expected. We can use context to not pass these dispatch methods as props and extract all the state and reducer logic in a separate file. I'll create two new contexts, one for the to-dos and one for the to-do dispatcher. I'll also create a provider component that wraps its children in both of these context providers. This provider component will store my state using the useReducer hook. I'll also move my reducer function to this file. Now I can import it here and use it in my useReducer hook. My providers will now use the to-dos and dispatch values. Finally, I'll create two custom hooks. useToDos, which will be a shortcut for the useContext to-dos context, and useToDos dispatch. I will export these. Now I can remove all this logic from the app component and only have the to-dos provider here. And in my components, I can use my custom hooks. useToDos dispatch in my form, useToDos in my to-dos list, and useToDos dispatch in the to-do item component. It's pretty clean and all of the state and state update logic is in one place. By now you're probably wondering, should I actually use reducers in my codebase? They frequently seem like a lot of code to execute a simple state change. They have their benefits though, especially for larger projects. By consolidating state update logic into one function, it makes that state update logic easier to maintain and later on share with many other components. In addition, reducers are pure functions, which makes them easy to debug and test. For smaller projects, reducers might actually not be worthwhile. You would have to write that boilerplate code to set them up, and later on you might not have the maintainability benefits. This to-do example would be completely fine without using reducers in terms of maintainability. It's small enough and easy enough to maintain. This wraps it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to receive updates about upcoming videos in this series.